Can you see
Because
this?
I was submitted it,
Yeah.
and then it went on else.
Alright.
So I,
What else was called?
Ready?
no. Sure.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. We're videotaping. Are you?
Yet. Go on.
Alright, just like linear equations, we have different forms. And what do the different forms do? Well, they each do something different. For example, this is slope-intercept form. Why we like slope-intercept form? Because we know the slope and the y-intercept, right? We have standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. So if I gave you, like, for example, 2x plus 4y equals 12, what we like about standard form is we can find the x and y-intercept. For example, if I put a 0 in for x, the y-intercept is 3, and if I put a 0 in for y, the x-intercept is 6, because 2 times 6 is 12. So we like that one. We also liked this, this is point slope form. So we had a point which we said is -2, 3, the opposites of these, and your slope is 1/3, right? Well, we're not talking about linears, we're talking about quadratics. And yesterday we talked about this form. It's called vertex form. And what was nice about this form is we knew the axis of symmetry, which is x equals 3, and we talked about getting the vertex, which is 3, 4. Whoops, this is a plus. Plus 4. Remember this yesterday? The opposite of this number is your h value, and this is your k value. We also talked about this number. If this is positive, our graph is going upward, and then our vertex is our minimum. If the a value, this is the a value, if a is negative, it's upside down. If it's upside down, then your vertex is the maximum. So if the a value is positive, it's the minimum value. If a is negative, it's the maximum value. Well, today we're not talking about this form. We're talking about standard form. Standard form looks like this: ax squared plus bx and then plus c. That is standard form. It looks a little different, but there are some benefits of this form, just like there's benefits of linears. We have a benefit of standard form, and the benefit is this. This number is going to be your y-intercept. This is the number where it's going to cross the y-axis, and the a value, just like up here, if a is positive, it's going to be a U-shaped figure, and if a is negative, it's going to be upside down. Okay, so with standard form, these are the two nice things about it. So let's start with our notes, and we're beginning by just defining what standard form is. Standard form is f of x is ax squared plus bx plus c. And it says a can't be 0. A is never going to be 0. Can someone tell me why a can't be 0? Yes.
That would remove the x squared, like, because it would be 0 and it wouldn't be a parabola.
Exactly. If you replaced a for 0, you have 0x squared. That would mean you'd have a linear function, not a quadratic. So a can be any number except, we're defining it as anything except 0. So what does the graph of this look like? If a is not 0 and we have x squared, it's a parabola. It's a U-shaped figure, or it looks like an N. A U or an N. Well, how do you know if it's opening, if the parabola is opening up, if it's a U? If the a value is greater than 0, can you give me another way of saying greater than 0? What's something, instead of saying greater than 0, what's another way we can say greater than 0?
Whole number.
No.
Positive.
Huh? I heard it.
Positive.
No.
I heard, say it, positive. If a is greater than 0, that means just look at the sign of it. If it's a positive number, it's a U-shaped figure. And if it's a U-shaped figure, our vertex is going to be the lowest point. It's going to have a minimum. does if A is less than 0 mean? What does it mean? If it's negative. So if A is a negative number, it's gonna be opening downward, and our vertex is gonna be the highest point, okay? So, we need to find out the other parts of a parabola. The axis of symmetry is that imaginary line that goes right through the vertex, and it's going to have this equation. You're going to use this a lot today. X equals, remember it has a name, x equals, it's the opposite of b over 2a. When I talk about b, I'm talking about the number that's in front of x. When I'm talking about the a value, I'm talking about the number in front of x squared. That's what I'm talking about. So now, when we find the vertex, we will use for the x-coordinate the axis of symmetry. So when you get your negative b over 2a, that's going to be the x value of your vertex. The y value will be found by taking this x value, it'll be a number, and you're going to plug this number into the equation to find f of x, which is your y value. So you're going to plug that x value into the equation to find the y coordinate of the vertex. Now the easiest thing of all is the y-intercept, besides if it's up or down. The y-intercept is going to be this little number right here that's all alone with no variable. So it'll be, your graph will cross the y-axis at the c value, the constant. Okay? So what I want you to do right now, I want you to change problem number 1 to y equals 2x squared minus 4x and then plus 2. So we're going to do y equals 2x squared minus 4x plus 2. We're not going to do this one. It's a nasty fraction. I don't want to do that one. So let's talk about, you've got to practice this axis of symmetry business. Okay, what you do, you take x equals, it's the opposite of b over twice the a value. So find b. B is negative 4. What's the opposite of negative 4?
4.
Over 2 times the a value is 2. So what's 2 times 2?
4.
So what's 4 over 4? 1. Your axis of symmetry is the line x equals 1. Now your vertex is going to be whatever you get here for x, whatever that is, you put that in for x. And now what we have to do is plug this number into this equation right here for x, wherever you see x, and find the y value. So doing that off to the side, y is going to be 2 times 1 squared minus 4 times 1 plus 2. Everybody see what I'm doing? I'm plugging 1 in here. And now this is where you guys are going to struggle the most, is to get the right number. It's our math that makes us make all these errors. So we're going to do 1 squared, which is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. And I make them too. I make mistakes too. Very easy to make these mistakes. So what is negative 2 plus 2?
0.
Is 0. So your vertex is 1, 0.
Go back real quick.
Yeah.
What happened to the 4?
What for?
Go back.
You do
The
2
four right
minus
there.
4 plus 2.
2 minus
Negative
4.
Oh,
plus
okay,
2
never
is-
mind.
Yeah, this is what, and like I said, a lot of people have trouble with the math part. That's the part that we struggle with in this section, is the math part. And so if you get that wrong, the whole thing's gonna be wrong. That's the bad thing. The whole thing's wrong. So, Dwayne, are you okay with this now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Next, is this, look at your a value. We set up here. If a is positive, the graph's gonna go up. So is this gonna have a max or a min?
No. Or min.
Min, because it's gonna be the lowest point. Your y-intercept is gonna be this number right here, 0, 2. It's the easiest thing to find. What did we say the domain always is for these?
All numbers.
All
Positive.
real numbers, positive, negative, all real numbers. Now, do you remember the easy way to find the range? You look at your
Highest
y value, and it's gonna be, since this is going up, it's gonna be y is greater than or equal to 0. for that one. Okay, now let's put this all together in a graph. We're gonna do 2 of these. I wanna take y equals x squared minus 4x minus 5, and I wanna graph the whole thing. This is what I expect you to be able to do by the end of this hour. Okay, so we're gonna start off with always start off with the axis of symmetry. So how do you do that? It's negative b over 2a. So what is the b value?
4 negative.
It's negative 4, so it's gonna be a positive 4 over 2 times the a value's 1. So what is the axis of symmetry? 2, good, x equals 2, so simplify it. So I want you to graph x equals 2. How do you graph x equals 2? Go to 2 on the x-axis and draw a vertical line, right? Okay, now, how do we find the vertex? What do we do with 2?
Plug
You're-
in.
Plug it in, good. We're gonna plug 2 in this equation right here. So you get y equals 2 squared minus 4 times 2 minus 5. Let's see how many different numbers we can get. What's 2 squared? What do you guys get?
Negative
What do you get?
9.
-9, very good. 2, -9. That's your vertex. So go to 2 and go to -9 and put a dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Put a dot. Okay, now, is this gonna be a maximum point or a minimum point? Minimum. Is this gonna be up or down? Up. Can you tell me the y-intercept of this? It's very easy. -5. Can you graph 0, -5? And does anyone know another point we can just throw in there? Anyone know?
Yeah. 4 negative 5?
How'd you get that?
It would be, symmetrical.
You got it. So the only point that's doesn't have a partner is the vertex. Everything else will have another point that's across that the axis of symmetry. So everyone can do that, right? You guys can measure, go right across if you're doing a graph like that. Now, is this enough? It's not that great. We could do better. How can we do better? We can plug some more numbers in. Like, what would you, use some common sense here. What other numbers would we use if we had a T-chart handy? What numbers would you want to evaluate to see what's happening? You want to connect these 3 dots. The more dots you have to connect, the better your graph's going to look. So anyone have a number to evaluate? How about what's in between 0 and 2? 1. How far down are we going? It's going to be somewhere in here. So let's evaluate this function when x is 1. Does everyone see where 1 comes from? Right here. 1. So how do you find out what y is when you plug 1 in? You plug that in right here. What's 1 squared? 1. What is -4 times 1? -4. And then -5. What do you get? -8. So that is a good point. 1, -8. Is there another match to that one?
Yeah, you can.
You can go right across. Is that enough? It's okay, but could we, if we wanted to, do better? Yes. What number would you go for?
Either negative.
Maybe -1? Let's look at -1. Let's do that one. If we put a -1 here, what's -1 squared? 1. What is -4 times -1? Plus 4, what do you get? 5, and then -5 is 0. So we've got that point. Is there another match to that one? Right there. Now, do you notice the more points you have, the easier it is to draw your graph? Now, can we fill in the last 2 lines, the domain and the range? What's the domain? All real numbers, and what's your range? Y is greater than or equal to
-5.
negative what?
Nine.
Negative 9. It's the y value of your vertex. That's how you get your range. Okay? Let's try another example in the back. So we have this function, f of x is equal to negative 2x squared plus 4x plus 7. What are we going to first do? We're going to find the axis of symmetry, which is the formula negative b over 2a. So can we do that? Negative b over 2, I write it down all the time. So if the b value is 4, you've got a negative 4 on top. And then 2 times the a value is negative 2. What do you get when you evaluate this? 1. X equals 1. So your axis of symmetry is the line x equals 1. So I draw, right away I draw my axis of symmetry. What unique point lies on that line is the vertex. So how are you going to find the vertex? It's negative, it's a 1 comma what? How do you find it?
See the,
You're going to plug it in. You're going to plug negative, you're going to plug 1 in here. So y is equal to negative 2 times 1 squared plus 4 times 1 plus 7. So I get negative 2 plus 4 plus 7, which is 9. So what's my vertex? 1, 9. Can you tell me anything more about this? It's a max. Good job. What else? It's going down, upside down. What else? What's the y-intercept? 0, 7. Anything else you know? What's all real numbers? Domain is all real numbers, okay. What else?
2, 7 is another point.
2, 7, thank you. Robert, 2, 7, good job. What else are you gonna do now? You're gonna just connect 3 little dots? This is where we have to go one step further. What is the one step further?
Negative 1.
Plug in negative 1. And that should, if you can give me 5 points, I'm happy. Negative 1. So, how do we do this? This is where we make mistakes here, when we plug numbers in. What goes first? Negative 1, what do you do?
Negative 2.
Uh-uh.
I mean, negative 1 squared.
Yes, negative 1, you're gonna square it, what do you get?
Negative 1.
A 1. And then what's 1 times negative 2?
Negative 2.
And I do it in pieces, and then I'll do 4 times negative 1, which is? Negative 4, and then plus 7, what do you get? 1. So, 1, and can I do the partner?
Yeah.
If you want more points, you would plug in another point, and so forth, but we're good. We didn't do the range. What's the range?
y is less than or equal
Less than or equal to what? Good job. Now, why isn't it greater than or equal to 9? It's going down. All the y values are below 9, okay? Now, check out this problem for a second. If I asked you to take this equation, or this function, and go from this form, y, this is called standard form. Watch how easy this is. This is standard form, right? What did we just say the vertex is? What did we say the vertex is?
1,
1, 9. Watch this. I'm going to show you, and you tell me what I did. I'm going to take this equation and I'm going to write it in vertex form. The same equation is going to be in vertex form. See if you can tell me what I'm doing. Knowing what we learned yesterday, what did I do? There's 3 things I put in. Dwayne, what did I put in?
You put the a in from the original equation, the standard form equation. You put the 1 in for b. Well, since it's flipped, it's a negative 1. So put that in, and you put the 9 in for d.
Very good. That's it. So the next problem that they're going to ask you here, they're going to ask you to convert this to standard form. So what you do is this is all you do. Find the vertex. How do you find the vertex? What is the b value? It's 4, so it's gonna be negative 4 over 2 times negative 1. What is x?
2.
2. How do you find the y value? 2 goes in here, so what's 2 squared? 4. What's 4 times negative 1? Negative 4 plus, what's 4 times 2?
8.
8, and then minus 5. So this is gonna be 4, and 4 minus 5 is negative 1. So what's my vertex?
2 negative
It's 2, negative 1. What's my a value here?
Negative 1.
Good, a is negative 1. So how do you write this in vertex form? Can you tell me? Go ahead, Wayne.
Y equals negative 1 parentheses x plus 2.
Plus 2? That's the one that's opposite. You do the
Oh,
opposite.
my bad, I'm sorry.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And you're done, that's it. You get this? That's it. Okay, here's your homework. Here's your homework. You got plenty of time now. Can you stop recording? Thank you.